Hello and welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Die hard. Go PHNX.com. I'm die hard for our friends at OGs. Speaking of OGs, it's a flavoring Friday here at PHNX Cardinals. They absolutely knock it out of the park here on Flavoring Fridays every single day. Check them out, OGBrands.com, for the full line of our favorite cannabis-infused gummy. My favorite co-host, this man to my right, Brack at Circle K, Studio K, the PHNX headquarters in downtown Phoenix. Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire behind the mic. Man, oh man, we're burning it up on a football Friday.
That's right. We are how many days away, it feels like, from the NFL kickoff for the Arizona Cardinals? I think we're about 90. Are we inside 90 days? Are we inside 90 Darnell Dockett days away from the Arizona Cardinals going up to Buffalo? Guys, did we see this? Brandon Beane, the GM for the Bills, and his early impressions of top pick Keon Coleman. Anybody else see that clip? Somebody tagged us in that, Johnny. And it was, hey, he's got a good personality. He's working hard.
You're telling me all the shenanigans that Keon Coleman doesn't equal being a great receiver, a number one receiver week one? It's funny how that works out. All the concerns.
He's like, some receivers just come from programs where, blocking's not a big part of what they do offensively. So, but we block here. So we're going to have to work on that, basically. I mean, I saw Trey Benson rip off some big time runs. They were a running program. You tell me Keon Coleman just didn't mix it up in the blocking game?
Hey, Keon, get ready to learn wide receiver 3 opening Sunday here. And Andy Isabella is going to be wide receiver 1 for the Buffalo Bills. That's a conversation for another day. You mentioned under 100 days till the kickoff.
Yeah.
39 days. Count them, 39 till training camp opens on July 23rd. Wow. You can smell it, man. I just saw it today, the NFL kibosh. They put the kibosh on, number one, lowering Sunday ticket. Okay. Like DirecTV, the folks in charge wanted to lower the price. Goodell said nope. And then number two, people have been asking, like, and I know this would have appealed to me back when I lived in the Midwest, like, can we just buy per game or per team? NFL said no. All or nothing. We're going to charge you $1 billion and you will pay it because the NFL is king.
You're going to pay that much and you're going to like it because that's the only way. We're the only game in town. We're the NFL. Big shout out to our guy, Cardi D, $2 super chat. Alpha Bird checking in, ready for a Friday show. Thank you, Cardi B. But was Cardi D was he the first super chat, or was it our friend Lonnie Glizzlable? Johnny always in the lab. The Goggins of Glizzies. How does that feel to have that type of support?
2 weeks from tomorrow, roughly, we will be at Chase Fields, and I will be attempting to eat upwards of 9 Glizzies in a single outing of what hopes to be a robust, long Diamondbacks. What is it? Twins game? Athletics? Who's playing?
It's the Oakland Athletics.
Now, I don't want to get into this conversation kicking off the show because I want to talk Cardinal football.
No.
I do have to ask Damon. Damon, if the game goes to extras, do I have extra time?
I mean, that's not how the 999 challenge works, brother.
Playing by the rules, and you can't do this, and you can't.
I will say that hopefully we do get a lot of runs so that the innings sustain longer and we get more time to, put some glizzies and some beer down.
Damon's been like the fun police. I was thinking, like, yeah, you get extra innings, extra time.
He's never subscribed to, hey, if you already check out, if you don't eat the allotted hot dog and drink the allotted beer for the inning, he says that your day is done. Like it's over. You've been pulled from the contest. That's all. Like, let's not get into this. Like, we're barely open. We're 5 minutes in the show. Let's not get into our 999 debate.
I don't even want to talk about it today.
Cardinal football to talk about. We have people checking in like Jess. We got JD the GOAT. We got Shay. People lighting up the chat. We're not going to let you try to change the rules and dictate the conversation because we want to talk some Cards football.
Let's do it. I'm burning for Cards football, which means we got to ask some burning questions with the offseason program, Brack, in the books officially. Offseason's over. It's on to 2024. What are the biggest question marks facing this team now ahead of training camp. We put our top 3, not for the season necessarily, but ahead of training camp into the regular season. What are our burning questions? I'm going to defer to my co-host there in Studio K. What are you looking at ahead of training camp in week 1 for the Arizona Cardinals?
You're too damn kind. I'm going to kind of spice this up for our podcast listeners because I want to cater to them, the unsung heroes of this humble program, those who are audio only. I'll go with my 3rd and then work my way up to 1. But of course, you're watching on YouTube, you see what my number 1 is. Number 3 is the front 7. Did they do enough? Did they improve enough on the defensive front 7? I know they made the moves. They signed Justin Jones. They signed Bilal Nichols. They drafted in the first round Darius Robinson. But then as you talked about yesterday, Johnny, it's basically the status quo as far as the pass rush room goes. And in order for them to really make noise, and what we saw was kind of the calling card of the Jonathan Gannon defense that went to the Super Bowl was pressure and sacking the quarterback. Did they get good enough there as far as making the quarterbacks, especially within this division, uncomfortable enough to make some noise, turn the football over, get the opposing offense off the field, and the ball into Kyler Murray's hands? So number 3 is the front 7 on the defensive side of the ball good enough right now?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, and I've got a similar question in my top 3, but I want to focus attention on number 2, the biggest position battles. If I asked you right now, biggest position battle on the team, what do you think it is?
I think it's 2 of them. I think it is left guard and Evan Brown. It's his job to lose. Everybody's saying all these great things about Evan Brown. He's got the experience. He's got the strength. He's already endeared himself to, the guys that were coming back that were starters on the offensive line last year. It feels like he's already kind of in the mix with Yeldo Froholt, Will Hernandez, Paris Johnson Jr. But then I think the backup quarterback position, I know that, you get bored by depth, but the backup quarterback position, we haven't seen a full season of Kyler Murray since 2020. And it's going to be important for whoever is going to be his primary backup is going to be ready to go. Is it going to be Desmond Ridder, the one that they traded for this offseason with Rondale Moore? Or is it the guy they drafted 5th round in 2023 in Clayton Tune? I think that's 2 of the biggest position battles. I think on the defensive side of the football, there's so much going on there. But I think that they have such high level backups that some of those guys who might not be starters in the base are going to see, starters amount of snaps to where, you could look 13, 14, 15 deep on the defensive side of the football to where it's not like if a guy's not starting, he's not playing a lot.
Yeah, the cornerback position in particular, all those guys are going to play a good amount. The defensive line, like, LJ Collier, Dante Stills, Darius Robinson. There's going to be a bunch of rotations, and it might be predicated on matchups where you're right. Like I look at left guard, and they would love the same starting 5 to start week 1 to week 17 and not miss a beat. They had too much turnover at that position. And so we'll see. Can the 3rd rounder out of Illinois come in there and force the issue? What's the issue with this one? Number 1, what's a good season, Bo Brock? I'm going to tell you my opinion before you give me yours.
Okay.
Good season's a winning record. A good season is this team over 500. They get to 9-8. They don't make the playoffs. I can stomach that. I can stand up and applaud. I was at the season finale at State Farm Stadium in 2013, when Bruce Arians went 10-6 his first year.
Mm-hmm.
While it was disappointing not making the playoffs, nobody could complain about the efforts of that team. And again, same could be said. 18 months roughly from bottoming out as an NFL franchise, 24 months roughly, and you get back to respectability, you're at 9-10 wins. Playoffs is great, but again, you're at a winning record as a program that's only ascending. That would be a good season, in my opinion.
Is that the bar?
I think so. I think if you ask Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenford privately and publicly, they would say that's the bar. We have a playoff caliber team this year.
I think they understand that. But at the same time, and the reason I make this my number 1, burning question as we sit here, as you mentioned, 39 days from training camp, I think we get we're excited about this team that went 3-5, should have been 4-4 with Kyler Murray in the lineup.
Yeah.
And we saw with not a good roster how competitive this team was. We had, Chris Sims go on his podcast on NBC Sports and say, when they're breaking down the teams that were non-playoff teams last season, that they are bullish on to be playoff teams this year. He said the Arizona Cardinals are on his short list. Absolutely, because it's a well-coached team with an improved roster. And with all that being said, they're still in year 2 of a rebuild, right? And, you see that, James Conner's on the Rich Eisen show saying we had a roster cleanse. Like, that's all well and good, but is it fair to set the expectations on a team that went 4-13 back-to-back seasons to be a 9-win team immediately? I mean, I think that, you could go 8-9 and you could say that's admirable, but at the same time, I think that there is a difference, and the difference is the idea that if Kyler Murray plays each and every one of these games, and you've said this before, like if Kyler Murray plays, the bulk of the 17 game slate, they're a playoff team. They are a team that's going to be over 500, and those are fair expectations. So, I think that's you got to keep it in mind, but also keep it in perspective as far as where this team was even a year ago at this time.
Well, yeah, and I was the one last year predicting they would win 6-7 games, and obviously they fell short of that. But things go differently against Washington.
You saw the coaching happening already.
Right. Absolutely. Like, I'm an optimistic person, but I also understand they play in a dominant division where multiple playoff teams come from it every year. This is, we dogged on Trevor Lawrence in part yesterday because he plays in a cupcake division, historically the AFC South. Now, where I give Trev his flowers, and I didn't mention this on the show yesterday, is Trevor Lawrence, I think he's missed like one start in his NFL career.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that availability on Sunday, that makes a big difference. That's Kyler Murray's bugaboo right now. You got to finish the season healthy. And I think this offense, again, those were the Cliff Kingsbury offenses.
Yeah.
There should be a big fat asterisk next to what he did for his first couple of years. Last year, I mean, when he came back from injury, did he miss a snap? I think maybe he missed one snap throughout those 8 games.
I mean, he was out of there on the push play.
Yeah, but not because of injury, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like this offense, I don't think enough people are making it out to be a Kyler Murray friendly offense, not only from a production standpoint, but a hit standpoint, an injury standpoint. It's predicated on him, though. You're right, playing 16, 17 games to get to the playoffs.
This is an interesting point here in the chat by a user whose name will go unsaid.
Okay.
Saying Chris Sims also said Kyler Murray is better than Jalen Hurts, and then proceeded to rank him 7 spots behind Jalen Hurts. And I think that they had some pretty good conversation. Our guy Damon Dawg went to war for K1 on the Southwest Bias show this week. Yeah, D-Dog did great. And the point was made that the same one that you were just making about Trevor Lawrence's availability, Jalen Hurts' availability. And I know he missed some time. Gardner Minshew filled in the season they went to the Super Bowl, but he's primarily been healthy. Physically, he seems to stand the test of the rigors of an NFL season. Kyler Murray needs to prove that this year. He needs to stay on the playing field. And I think with just doing that, you're going to see him immediately just rise the ranks because his play is going to speak for itself.
Yeah, like if you're asking me in a 1-game head-to-head matchup, I would take Kyler Murray over Jalen Hurts, and I think a lot of people in the NFL would. But I give Jalen Hurts immense credit. He's done something Kyler Murray has not been able to do, and that's sustain the rigors of an NFL season. That's a big part of it. That's why, up until last year, Kirk Cousins continues to get contract extension after contract. I mean, it's like you got to be available for these games. Like, that's a cliche, but I mean, it's what's hurt the guys like Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, these guys that are unavailable, you can't build around. And I think that's the only lingering question for Kyler Murray. It's such a breath of fresh air. You and I had to talk all that cockamamie, garbage last offseason. And it was, he's not a leader. He doesn't care. Video games. We knew that was never the truth. And now we've stripped that down. And for the most part, people with a brain and know football understand that's not the case. But what we've always been consistent of is, listen, I can't defend Kyler Murray if it's Halloween, he's not playing. Or I can't defend Kyler Murray if he's on the injured reserve for 4 weeks again. Because I don't care how talented you are. Like, this team has aspirations of winning division games and maybe making a wild card. They can't do that without Kyler Murray. And you mentioned the backups. Like, it's just not an option. The one option, I think, for Gannon and Ossenford to pivot off K1 after this year is if he's not available. There is no scenario in my mind, though, if he's playing, that he is not going to set the world on fire. Like, he is, every year he has played, he has been productive in the form of at least 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, if not better. Mostly significantly better. Like, again, like, we all look at what Baker Mayfield did last year and Trevor Lawrence's career year. Kyler Murray's career years smoke both of those guys without even playing a full season. So I'm with you. I think a good season, you can put an asterisk. Winning 9 games, asterisk below that, Kyler Murray playing 17 games.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a really good season.
Yeah, I saw a list of the last time an NFL team had a quarterback throw 30-plus touchdowns in a single season. Kyler hasn't done that, but then you start, like, you'll see the team logo, and then you put together like who that quarterback was. There been a lot of like bad quarterbacks that have thrown 30 touchdowns. Like, Kyler Murray is fully capable of doing that and putting up numbers. And when he does that, with the complementary football, this is going to be a team that's going to be in the playoff conversation. When the last 30 touchdown performance was from the Cardinals? Pretty easy answer.
Yeah, Carson Palmer.
Yeah. 2015 though.
Yeah, and I think he and Kurt Warner are the only two that have ever done it in the history of this franchise. And I think Palmer has the record. I think Warner did it once, and that was his career high in Arizona. And then Palmer has the record at 35. And so, again, like we always talk about on this show, Kyler Murray plays up to his capabilities for 17 weeks. He's going to break a lot of records, QB records for the Cardinals.
Damon, the last time a Dolphins quarterback threw for 30 touchdowns?
I do not.
1994.
Dan the Man.
Dan Marino.
Tua didn't throw 30 touchdowns last year, but he almost 5,000 yards.
But you had Raheem Mostert rushing for 20.
He got touchdown vultured like a lot last year. I think it's funny because like you look at the discrepancy between like a Josh Allen who scored like 85% of his team's touchdowns last year. James Cook, I think, had 2 tutties. And Josh Allen just like vultured every one of the rushing touchdowns.
I will have those. Those are mine.
And on the opposite end of the spectrum, like Tua threw like 26 touchdown passes. Mostert had like 25 touchdowns, and like A-Chain had like 8.
Like, I'm not saying 30 touchdowns isn't a lot, but like it's less than 2 per game passing for Kyler Murray. Like, so, he's easily hitting that this year.
Trevor Lawrence signed the big deal. Has never done it. Jacksonville has had a 30 touchdown passer. You know who it was?
Yeah, it was Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles in 15. Chicago, never. Washington, 1967.
What?
Cleveland, 1980.
67? Who's throwing 30 tutties in 67?
Like Sammy Baugh? I don't know.
Floppy Joe. Somebody in, when they had like 7-on-7. Not real players. It's going to happen this year. Kyler will get to 30 because I think this offense, I think he's going to use his legs, not so much in the red zone, though. Like when you've got James and Trey Benson and Michael Carter and 13 personnel, 20 tight ends out there with our boy Tip on the perimeter, blowing people up. Like they're going to run the ball every opportunity.
But we saw like even in Pittsburgh, like where Trey McBride had to catch 2 touchdowns to get 1 because of some lame call. Like Trey, Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr.
All right, let's add them up right now in real time. This is not good podcasting, but all right. How many touchdowns does Marvin Harrison Jr. get next year, this fall?
I'm going to say anywhere from 6 to 8.
Okay, let's take the average. Let's say 7. All right, Michael Wilson. How many touchdowns for Michael Wilson?
Man, I would say like 6 to 8 as well.
Okay, so we'll split the difference. We'll just do 14 between the two. Okay. I'm only going to do the big targets.
We're being conservative here.
Yeah, we'll do 14 between those two. Greg Dortch, let's say 5 for Greg.
Okay. Wow, look at us in lockstep here.
So we're already to 20. We're already we're to 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Trey McBride, I think, has 7 touchdowns this year. So we're at 26. So between the big 4, we have 26 passing touchdowns. So you only need
sprinkle in like randos.
James Conner, Michael Carter, Trey Benson, Tip, Elijah Higgins, Zay Jones. It's happening.
It's just about staying healthy. I don't have any concerns about him being able to get 30 if he plays 17 games. None at all.
Yeah. I mean, he had 26 his last healthy season, but he had 11 rushing touchdowns.
He almost had 4. He was projected for like 45 at one point that year.
Yeah.
People were like, I don't know if he can play. All right. So we're going to get
Sonny Jurgensen, by the way.
Oh, wow. Have you ever seen film of Sonny Jurgensen?
No.
Like the dad bod quarterback, like big gut, but just a huge, strong rifle of an arm.
Just a brick house arm.
Yeah.
How about this, Mike A in the chat got my PHNX brick shit house bird shirt. What shirt is that?
I don't know. Is it this one? Is this one? Or is it the
one of the new ones, maybe?
Brick shit house bird shirt is.
Maybe like design his own. Mike, let us know specifically what shirt that is. That'd be great. A lot of people are saying their number 18 collections are shipped. I haven't gotten notified yet. I'm hoping it just shows up on my doorstep because I can't wait to rock that. I'm going to give you my top 3 burning questions ahead of training camp. But first, talk about spending cash. How about saving some cash with our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union? Do what's necessary and level up your financial acumen with the official credit union of PHNX Sports, the Venerable household, and the Arizona Cardinals. They've got an exceptional team with a ton of experience helping you find the financial solutions that make your lives better. And again, I mentioned saving some cash. They got savings accounts, they got checking accounts, but they also have mortgages. Starting to see some of those mortgage rates drop. We've got loans, credit cards. You want to build up some credit for yourself or a loved one. They've got investment options and more. It's a one-stop shop to level up your financial acumen, and they've got a ton of locations here in the Valley to help you get your money at your convenience. Plus, you can rep the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. It is fresh, and it is available for you to use. You got to go to their website, though, desertfinancial.com/CardinalsBo to get started. Sign up for your free checking account. It takes a matter of minutes. Debit cards in the mail shortly after the fact. I promise you, best financial decision I've made, signing up with Desert Financial Credit Union.
No doubt about it. Love our friends over at Desert Financial and desertfinancial.com. Also love our friends at OG's on a Flavoring Friday. It's nearly the freaking weekend. Why not celebrate Friday night by popping a couple soft, bouncy, delicious cannabis gummies from our friends, cooking them up over at OG's Brands. You can find them in your local dispensary, whether you like the fruits, the creams, maybe a mixed bag. You got so many delicious flavors to choose from, like the RSO. How about the orange creamsicle? Frank Sanders, legendary Arizona Cardinals receiver, he says that's his favorite OG's brand when he was on this very program back in the day. We got to catch up with Frank. But OG's, you can't go wrong. Check out that full product line, including a sleep time gummy that's going to help put you to sleep and keep you to sleep. It's the perfect, we talk about it during holiday season, stocking stuffer. If you're looking for a last minute gift, maybe for Father's Day, I'm sure Pops would appreciate a bag of OG's. Just pick it up at your local dispensary. And you got to be 21 years or older and enjoy them responsibly.
I'm responsible with my list, burning questions ahead of
you
training.
I was reckless? I was irresponsible?
Yeah, I'm getting down into the nitty gritty here. I asked the questions that people want answered. Some may not agree with that when a certain co-host is in front of the head coach and the GM just lobbing up softballs. I feel like half the time, right?
Carrying water usually.
Yeah. Don't you just love that when people are like, those are bad questions? You didn't ask the right questions. All right, we're here to ask, and maybe you can answer these questions. These are my top 3 ahead of training camp, and I'll go start to finish here. Number 3, is this it for Ex-Keim guys? Not ex-con, but Ex-Keim guys for the Arizona Cardinals. What do I mean by that? Well, if I look at the tail end of this roster, is this it for Dennis Gardeck? Does he make the team? I think so. What about Kelvin Beachum, right? What about guys like if you look toward Cameron Thomas, some of these Victor Dumakagi, right? These carryover, these holdover guys that have made it through a season, are they going to be around in 2024 and beyond? Is this an opportunity for some of these undrafted free agents to upend some of the Steve Keim extensions once upon a time? I think some of them make the roster. I think Dennis Gardeck, listen, I will not bet against this guy again. I think he's too valuable to the locker room and on special teams. But Jesse Luketa, Victor Dumakeji, are they making it over the kid out of Clemson, the outside linebacker pass rusher? Are they making it over Tip Raymond, who maybe could make Jesse Luketa's role irrelevant as an offensive fullback? Like, there are questions now. Like, this team is added, I think we counted yesterday, like 25 drafted and undrafted rookies in the last 2 off seasons. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Bo. That's half the roster roughly. So then you've got guys like Kyler and, Trey McBride of the world that are established. But then there's this group, this covenant of guys that are fringe players. And as Austin Ford and Gannon have mentioned, competition was kind of not at a premium last year at training camp. Yeah, guys were competitive against each other, but a lot of people made the team that maybe wouldn't make the team this year.
Yeah.
How much longer are these Ex-Keim guys going to stick around, Bo?
I think that a lot of the Keim guys that are remaining with the organization that haven't been weeded out, and as Connor said, haven't been cleansed from the new regime for the roster.
Yeah.
They kind of endeared themselves and bought into the culture, and that they were once Keim guys, but they've been baptized by Monty Osborne and Jonathan Gannon. And, I think that if the price is right, like there's always a spot for these guys. But at the same time, like if they want to go off and they think that, they can go either excel elsewhere, where I think most guys believe like this is the place where they can probably find the most success and get the most fair shake as far as playing time. But you look at his Keim's last draft class, like Trey McBride's going to stick around, right? Be a huge extension for the tight end. But then like Thomas, I think when you look at guys who are, replacement level players, like they probably more willing to go out via free agency, or probably more likely drafting somebody else for somebody on his roster that's going to be younger and fits their scheme better. So like Cameron Thomas, I feel that, like Majay Sanders, Keontae Ingram, gone. Sidney Smith, gone. Christian Matthew, gone. Luketa fits that same thing as Cameron Thomas. Marquise Hayes, who was primarily a practice squad, is he going to make it through camp? He's going to make it through preseason. Is he going to crack this roster at any point? I mean, it'd be tough, but I feel you. I mean, I think that we're closer and closer to, outside of like the blind squirrel finding the nut for some of these players that remain that were Keim picks. You're going to be hard pressed to find a Keim guy on this roster beyond this year,
that's wild. It's super wild. Like guys that, McBride's getting extended, you would hope, and Kyler's going to be around, but like, Buddha could be gone. Dennis Gardeck's in a contract year. The offensive line, there really are no Keim guys on the offensive line. Like Hernandez was a free agent signing, but then Austin Ford brought him back, right? And so the tight end group is completely new outside of McBride. I mean, it's pretty nuts. Greg Dortch is in a contract year. Everybody says it takes about 3 off seasons to completely retool and upend your roster, and it's correct. Now, Austin Ford and Gannon have kicked that up a notch because they've dominated the draft. They've had more draft picks than anybody, and we love to see it, which I think makes it exponentially harder for those guys we just mentioned to make the team. Let's go to my second question, Mr. Damon Dawg. How about this? Who's going to open up training camp and subsequently the season as RB2? Everybody wants to know. I've already got asked it on certain fantasy football podcasts and streams. Who's poised to take the lion's share carries away from James Conner when or if he goes down? And who opens up the season getting 25, 30% of those touches? Now, I think we'd all like for Trey Benson to eventually be that guy, but I think, Trey Benson's in for maybe an RB3 slot to open up camp just because of how impressive Michael Carter Jr. was last year. I know it's a position that requires fresh legs, but this is also a team like Michael Carter helped them win games at the end of last year, and they opted to claim him. He stuck around. So for me, I think Michael Carter Jr. opens up the season in camp, 2 on the depth chart. But if at any point James Conner goes down, I think Trey Benson gets those touches. I think it's out of respect, and I think it also, like, there's going to be instances where I don't think Trey Benson's playing a ton because James Conner's cooking. He should have been a Pro Bowl running back last year, and Michael Carter is like the perfect Chase Edmonds-esque compliment to him.
Yeah, you say with respect and all due respect, Johnny. I don't think there's much of a question as far as this goes. I think it's Trey Benson.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I mean, I Michael Carter has a role. He's going to get snaps. He's going to be a change of pace guy. I think he's going to be primarily maybe your third down guy. But, step in, Owen, Shafe, Jack Smith, Jess, everybody's saying Benson. And I tend to agree with him. I mean, drafted 66th overall.
So you think he's going to be undeniable in
Yeah,
training camp?
I think he profiles as James Conner's backup. And that's how I view RB2. Where I think that, if you're looking at RB2 is your change of pace, pass catching guy, then sure. I mean, if that's what you view like your RB2 role is. And is that what you mean? Or do you mean like?
I mean touches to start the year. Like I think Michael Carter Jr., at least to begin the season and in training camp, is going to get more touches than Trey Benson.
Yeah, I think he'll see the field more. Yes.
Yeah.
But like if James Conner somebody, God forbid, rolls up on his ankle, or he has to come out of the lineup, and they need somebody to get first and second down carries, I think it's going to be Trey Benson.
Yeah, and I think I tried to illustrate that point, but I do think, again, like there are two questions that are being asked, I feel like, from the fantasy community a lot. Who's the number 2 wide receiver? And if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't know. It's Michael Wilson easily, with respect to everybody else. And then who's getting the bulk share, the load behind James Conner? I think
since you brought up Michael Wilson, like I see you promoting Michael Wilson pretty heavily on your social media.
It's easy. It's an easy thing to do for a friend of the program.
Yeah, he's absolute friend of the program. I just feel like you're trying to adopt him as your guy.
I don't know if that's the case. I think it just happened. Our relationship happened organically, whereas yours feels forced, where you're like all up in his business half the time. I'm not carrying water for the guy. I'm pointing out maybe what other people need to see. I'm going on, opposing podcasts and streams and radio, and people are asking me who's the breakout player. I think it's easy. I'm using my platform for good, where yours is used for poison.
I mean, I don't know if that's any of that's true. I mean, here's Johnny's latest tweet was the league ain't ready for 2024 Michael Wilson. And then you stole a picture from his
I credited him. I credited him.
I mean, as loosely as possible. I mean, you didn't add him or anything. You just I mean, it was a self-serving tweet. You were trying to use, the Michael Wilson hype train to your own benefit. I just think you say it's organic, but it's a bit disingenuous. And I don't know. I mean, Damon, who would you say is Michael? Whose guy is Michael Wilson?
I mean, we were talking a little bit before the show. Mm-hmm. Like Johnny seems to kind of want to plant his flag in all of your guys. It feels like. Hang on a second. I task everybody.
Thank you, Damon.
The tweets are out there. Go back if you get some time this weekend. Put aside your loved ones. Look at my Twitter timeline from about mid-July until early September. And there was one person in this market, and there was one person nationally that was pushing Michael Wilson as a dominant player at training camp, and it was your boy right here. And when everybody wanted to actually me, and the big Jays came after me and said, he's not starting over Dak Pascal. I said, are you watching this kid? Are you watching his physicality? I've been ride or die since day one. Where did you get
the boots on the ground information? Who did you use as a resource and say who's showing out at training camp?
Somebody who's not around anymore. I don't think somebody who's not available.
Seems to be pretty important as far as this conversation goes.
Here's what's important. My number one question.
Let's hear it.
Let's get to it. Number one. Let's see it, Damon Dawg. Are the Cardinals going to add any pass rushers? I'm going to say yes. I think they will. Will there be pass rush additions for Monty Ossenford? Here are the candidates, according to CBS Sports. Yannick Ngakoue. He's available. Ever heard of him? Emmanuel Ogbah out of Miami. Available. And then, of course, Carl Lawson. Available. All three productive at one point or the other. All three relatively young. All three former high draft picks. Will the Cardinals add a pass rusher? I think they need to. respectfully, Jesse Luketa, Victor Dimukeje, Cameron Thomas, Dennis Gardeck. I have seen that movie before. Now, I'm high on Zaven Collins, B.J. Ojulari. I propped up Zaven earlier this week on this program. The bottom of this depth chart at outside linebacker, and the Cardinals rotate a lot of guys, just like a D tackle, is not good enough. And I would rather take a flyer for somebody that is proven in the NFL. Yes, Yannick Ngakoue had a down year last year. Year before, he had 9 sacks. Give me Yannick Ngakoue or somebody of that caliber with Jonathan Gannon as a 7th or 8th man reliever to come in and help out on 3rd or 4th down against Brock Purdy or Matthew Stafford. I do not want to see Jesse Luketa or Victor Dimukeje rush the passer. I'm done doing it. I have seen it. It has been established. Those guys are not NFL contributors off the edge. They are special teamers. They're great human beings. They deserve to be in the NFL. But people romanticize those guys because the Cardinals use them in promotions, and I appreciate that. I'm trying to win games. I would rather take a flyer on guys that have done it before. It worked with Dwight Freeney. It worked with Jonathan Abraham. The Cardinals have had unique success, albeit under Steve Keim, in the summer, adding a veteran pass rusher. So I think give me a pass rusher, mix it in during training camp, because those other guys, they don't have the juice. I'm hoping Zaven's got it, but it hasn't been proven yet either. Give me some pass rush, give me some juice.
Yeah, there's just no proven commodity.
No.
Can't find one. I think Ngakoue is really your only option. I mean, Agba, we've said he's more inside guy.
5 sacks last year.
I know, but you've got a pretty crowded room on the defensive line already. If you're looking like for outside linebacker, you got somebody who's going to go theoretically back in coverage or have the ability to do it like they sometimes ask their outside linebackers to do. I don't know if he can do that, but Ngakoue, like if you just pin your ears back, it's got the skill. It's like Dwight Freeney back in, was it 2015 when they brought him in off the streets? It's just like he has this ability to beat his blocker and find a path to the quarterback. And it's just, even if he gets 4 sacks, like
that, what kind of sacks are they? Is it a sack to win you a game?
I mean, that's more production than you're going to get than the guys at the back end of that room. Like you like it's necessary you get production from BJ Ojulari. You have to. Damn, you have to. Zaven too. Gardeck too. But then everybody else, like if you can just get that much better and you get a guy like Yannick Ngakoue coming off the edge on 3rd down and get your defense off the field, 4 times this season, that's a win. That's worth to me. And they're gonna have to do, in training camp, they're gonna have to figure that out. And I'm sure Ngakoue is gonna be looked to sign with somebody like after the team goes, all the teams go through, the brutal camps.
Yeah, Jalen Blair brings up a point that I would have agreed with before they signed Zay Jones. Jalen Blair in the chat saying, friend of the program, just doesn't feel like an Austin Ford move. And they added Zay Jones on a 1-year flyer, who's very much of the same vein. He's 29 years old. That's how old Yannick Ngakoue is. That's a depth, security, safety move to fill out this roster. They ain't doing that last year when they're cleansing the roster and stripping it down. This year, you're trying to make a push to 8, 9, 10 wins. You go sign Yannick Ngakoue. I'm sorry. Victor Dimukeje getting 3 sacks in 1 preseason game does not translate when the big boy pads come on during the season. When you're going up against Trent Williams, like that, you got to have people who have done it before. So to me, there is no downside to doing it. You've established your culture. Dimukeje's not going to come in, or excuse me, Yannick Ngakoue or whomever, Carl Lawson, they're not going to come in here and mess up what you've established. And I think that was a concern last year. You have the Isaiah Simmons of the world. You had to get that up out of here, right? And so 1 or 2 bad apple free agents could topple a house of cards, no pun intended. That's not happening this year.
I mean, they know how to vet free agents, right? If he either fits your culture or he doesn't. If he doesn't, then this is a moot point. Like I hope you're not saying it from the standpoint of like if you're willing to take on somebody who'd be like an outlier.
No, I think there was hesitation. I have the source. I know this definitively. Last year, free agents, they didn't really want to mess with it. late into the offseason. They wanted to give every opportunity for Gannon and company to coach undrafted free agents, the rookie class, right? And then seeing who got a buy-in from the prior regime's guys.
It did make sense to surrender valuable playing time and snaps for younger guys to see what they were, for somebody to come in here on a one-year flyer and also who would be, primarily saying, hey, I'm using this as a stepping stone to further my NFL career, not help, facelift this Arizona Cardinals organization that desperately needed it.
Gannon has a relationship with Eberflus. Yannick Ngakoue had been in Chicago. The Chicago Bears want Yannick Ngakoue back. The Cardinals have the money to go and bring him to Arizona. Now, there's been no signal one way or the other, Bo, that the Cardinals are going to do that they have any interest in doing that. But I do think the Zay Jones acquisition shows me that maybe they're not done. Would you agree with that?
I think they're always looking to improve, but I do believe that they want to see this play out on grass in training camp.
It's clock's ticking, man.
But how much more do you need to see? I don't think they're making any significant. I don't think they're making any like big additions to any room. And unless something unforeseen happens where somebody is released or that they weren't expecting, like a Zay Jones, before they put the pads on and see what everybody's about and how it looks.
Yeah, I'm with you. Time's up. Time's not up for some of these super chats. We're going to get to them here in a second. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at Circle K. Are you thirsty this summer? I bet you are, especially in Arizona. Grab a Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents now through September 3rd at any Arizona location. Again, find it in the app under Inner Circle -offers. Right now, it's the new free membership program. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. Again, America's Thirst Stop is where you want to be, and you got to become a member of the Inner Circle at Circle K right now. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more details.
Absolutely. Hitting the road after the show, getting away for Father's Day weekend. I'm going to top it off at Circle K and then hit in the America's Thirst Shop for some snacks, Froster, Polar Pops. Also, if you're looking for maybe something to do this weekend, how about as early as tonight? Hit up Illegal Pete's, and maybe you can tap into their sound check deal. You're going to see maybe a stand-up. You're going to a concert. You're going to the Diamondbacks game. You can use your ticket stub to get yourself a penny drink. That's right. Any draft beer you can get right now, or house margarita for just a penny at all participating Illegal Pete's around the valley. Celebrate pregame or postgame. Now, it is with the purchase of an adult entree, but it's a smoking deal. And who could miss out, or who would want to miss out on the irresistible drinks and mouthwatering food that'll fill all your heart's desires, like their burritos, like their bowls, their tacos, their salads, their nachos with that piping hot queso. We love Illegal Pete's. Find the nearest location near you, whether it's in Tempe, or look up illegalpete's.com, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer.
Yeah, those patio beers at Illegal Pete's, they go hard. My in-laws are in town, and they're like, what's good? And I said, Illegal Pete's is good. Yeah. And we're going to have some, maybe even on Father's Day. Let's get to some of these super chats here. Damon, Dawg, you want to kick us off? A little Damon Cat action? Becoming a routine request here.
I refuse. I'm going to refuse every day.
I'll read Damon Cats for $1.99. Thank you, Damon Cat. Meow.
Richard, $4.99, friend of the program. Been watching other podcasts, and people are thinking Cards are a sneaky team that could make the playoffs. Are the Cardinals not sneaking up? I think when predictions come out, Richard, from ESPN and USA Today, that will be the judgment. If people really want to put their chips in the middle of the table and put their money where their mouth is, I think most people are going to have the Cardinals around 6-7 wins. And I think that's a mistake. I think they're closer to an 8-9 win team. When you have to pick the Cardinals over McVay or Shanahan, that's difficult for people to do.
Yeah, 6 and 7, if you just kind of look at chalk, if their schedule goes chalk, right? Yeah. If they win the games they're supposed to win, if they lose the games that they're not favored in. But with the coaching and the improved roster and Kyler Murray being in the fold, that gives you a chance in each and every football game to win games that people aren't expecting. So, say you take care of business in the games that you're favored in for the most part, and you're hovering around 6 or 7 wins.
Yeah.
But then you win 2 to 3 games that nobody's expecting, then boom, you're right there at 9, 10 wins before anybody notices. PHNX Saul Goodman, $1.99 super chat. And I saw the actual GM in the chat. I don't know if he knows that his alter ego exists in our super chats, but here it is for $1.99. I'm smoking, eating OGs. JV, you're fired. I was going to skip the front part of that. Try to keep it a little bit more wholesome of a program.
Yeah, it's a Friday afternoon. We can only take it so far. Blow Brack, friend of the program, a very generous $9.99. Thank you so much, Blow Brack. Much more generous than my co-host here on the Blow Show. And how about this? All right, I got to read this very carefully here. On the Blow Show on 999 AM PHNX Sports. I haven't heard of that. Must be a new segment we're doing. We did the first episode of the revived PHNX Cardinals, the perk, previously known as the Purge. The perk had me reading that Magna Carta. Is that what that is?
Mind blown. All right.
$10 for that super chat, Blow Rock.
We should make a Blow Show.
Choice.
You want the Blow Show? I used to host a weekend show on Fox Sports 910 called The Bow Show.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Blow Show has a lot of legs to it, and I think maybe you just put on like a fake mustache for every episode or something.
All right, let's do it. Let's keep it going with these super chats, though. Thank you, my evil twin, Blow Brock. Topic 64, friend of the program, $4.99, getting us back on track. I guess JT's a Keim guy. He busts his ass. He wants to be around for sure. He loves the team, fans, coaches, and the city 100%. Love to hear that.
But he's also extended, producing the best, in my opinion, the most productive safety on the team last year, and could very well do it again.
I mean, JG say he's like he's everything you want from the modern day.
He's got immense roster security and is in the peak years of his NFL career. He's what we like to call a proven entity kind guy. Kyler Murray, I think Trey McBride's entering that category now. I'm talking about Keim guys that they're hanging on, and give them credit, man. It's hard to make an NFL roster.
Got to give credit to Keim. Getting JT in the supplemental.
Listen, Keim was not a good dude, but he made some nice moves.
His hits too.
He celebrated.
He loved to puff his chest out, give those big extensions and stuff. But in the case of Jalen Thompson, more than worthy of that.
They slid that right. I'm sure Topic 64. They slid that right before the start of the season. It was like, oh yeah, that's a nice signing.
Yeah,
it's gonna age pretty well.
Illadre, $1.99 super chat. We have the cap. Why not just grab a veteran pass rusher? They want to see what these guys are about.
There's no downside. Nobody, Illadre, who gets signed from this point forward is getting multiple years. Cardinals don't want to do that. They're not doing that. And then number two, it's like they have $35 million in cap. So if they have to overpay a little bit to be more competitive than Chicago, because I don't cost of living in Illinois is, I would say, equal to Arizona right now. But if they just want to coax him to a program that he's not familiar with, pay him a little bit more. Like that, you've given yourself financial flexibility at this point.
Let me say something. You're gonna hate it. I just know you're gonna hate it. You're gonna despise me for even bringing it up.
That tracks.
But guys like Dumakaji, guys like Cameron Thomas, guys like Lucetta, like the way that the new kickoff is set up.
Ugh, you're right. I don't even finish this question.
The new scheme, like the new player on kickoff profiles as a bigger dude.
I wish I had my glasses because I was going to nerd out here. The new kickoff rules.
Oh, get out of here.
Okay.
Get out of here.
I'm carrying water from Michael Wilson.
What planet is Obi-Wan from? You tell me that, nerd.
It's never really been established. Same shitbag, $1.99. I can't. These super chats today are X-rated. I get this off the screen. Off.
What? House of Dragons returning on Sunday.
Oh, gotcha. That's what it was.
Same here.
Yeah.
What about you, Bo? Are you green or black?
So I just found out about that. I'm on Team Dragon, I think. Right? What is it?
they all have dragons.
Yeah,
that's kind of the point of the show.
You look good with an eye patch, I think. Like the one son. You look good with an eye patch.
I don't like the team with the lady who married the dad.
That's Team Green.
Yeah, I'm out on that one.
So we're Team Black here.
Yeah.
Is that established? All three of us?
Yes. Easily.
Lock in.
Okay.
We don't like
we're on the same team together. It's good.
Decomposing. Josh, $1.99, just rewatched Super Bowl 43, Holmes catch. Jesus. Yep. Guys, stop. Today is not the day to do this.
It was a bad day. It was a tragic day for him.
We have a
nowhere near comparable to what Damon, these super chats today are.
Next awesome. One is wholesome.
And then Saint comes back in and it takes a complete 180. Happy Father's Day, Saint. $1.99. We appreciate you, my friend.
Yes. Happy Father's Day to the entire crew. Of course, Johnny, father of 2. I'm father of 1. Damon's the father of the Hold the Line movement. It's a huge weekend for the fathers on the show.
Good Lord. Love our friends in the super chat.
That was the most unhinged super chat run we've ever gone on.
I mean, yeah, the Super Bowl 43 is gut wrenching for a sporting event. I will not read that ever, even if there's a fire. All right. I want to talk about this Kyler Murray hype video, but first I want to talk to you about what I'm hyped for. And it is our travel plans this late October. Myself, Bo Brack, the GM, Saul Bookman, Damon, Dawg, and more. We're headed to South Beach, Hollywood Beach for the Arizona Cardinals takeover of the Miami Dolphins via our True Fan Travel friends at truefantravel.com. If you're thinking about taking a road trip game this year, and you're going between a couple different options, I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be no better experience. There's going to be no better savings. There's going to be no better atmosphere than going with PHNX Cardinals to South Florida for the banner trip of the year. I cannot wait. Damon, Dawg, let's see that fan graphic. Not only are you going to get tickets to the game, not only are you going to get hooked up flights, airport transportation, how about a booze cruise? How about alumni visits, right? We were talking to Saul Bookman the other day. They're lining up alumni. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be a tailgating event. We're going to be hanging out all weekend long. It's not going to be just the one-off where you see Bo and I and Damon for 5 minutes. No, unlimited access. PHNX Cardinals, we're talking shop all weekend. En route, we're hitting the bars. We're hitting the club scene en route to Kyler Murray taking over South Beach and putting a big L on the Miami Dolphins on October 28th. I cannot wait, Bo.
It's all inclusive. We take out all the heavy lifting for you. All you do is you pay for it, set it, forget it, pack your bags, you get on a flight, and you meet us in Miami, and we're going to have a banger of a time. You're not going to want to miss out on this. We're going to be talking about this for ages. It goes down October 25th through 28th. Lock your spot in today because it's going to make it easier. You're going to save on flights. You're going to save on tickets. It's going to make everything so much easier for you to lock in right now. Easiest way, check us out right now at gophnx.com/events. You can find it there. truefantravel.com. Don't miss out on our unbelievable road trip to Miami.
But this Saul Bookman $1.99 super chat. I'm buying drinks, baby. Come to Miami.
Oh.
We're going to get Saul Bookman's credit card. It's going to be off the chain. And speaking of credit, you can put this on a payment plan over the course of 4 months. Get this paid off. Come with a clear heart, clear mind.
You can try to put it together yourself. You really can. And the time you're going to spend, time and effort, and then what you're going to see, the final number, it's not going to come close to what True Fan's going to be able to do for you.
I mean, like the booze cruise itself, I cannot wait. And again, like we're talking about like what's proposed right now. We're just going to continue to add itinerary, but guess what doesn't go up? The price of admission. Can't wait to see all of you at South Beach. Biggest thing we've ever done, I think, at PHNX Sports, period. And we pushed for this, and we're fired up. I'm fired up to watch this Kyler Murray hype video. Bo, this dropped on his Instagram earlier this week, and it's one of those things where you know the work that he put in, and then you see something encapsulated like this, and it's just a reminder how elite Kyler Murray is.
Yeah, I mean, it gets you pretty hyped, right?
The best of Kyler is yet to come. The best of Kyler is yet to come.
We can talk over this, can't we, Damon? I think Bo's muted. I'm not muted, though.
Throwing a Marv, putting in the work, just getting the sweat going. You ever do this move? You ever do those little lunges with the squat rack, Johnny?
No, I'm doing that. What he's doing in his sweats, that's me. The little baby steps. Let's run this back one more time here. You know who likes this video? Marvin Harrison Jr.
The best of Tyler is yet to come. The best of Tyler is yet to come.
I love that shot of he and Marv embracing.
Yeah,
like just two
well,
guys.
Then at the end of the video, it's him doing the content day where they took all their pictures at the facility, and some random guys just like, "Hey man, have a great season." He's like, "We will."
I love it.
And then process driven. It's the caption he put with his the karate outfit. I mean, the process thing is that's JG. I mean, Jonathan Gannon it's all about the process. It's not, the results will come, but it's all about dialing in the correct process. Are you preparing the right way? And that's clearly resonating with his top player, Kyler Murray.
We've made a big deal about his size. I think he's bigger. You think he's bigger. Explain to the folks at home, because you're there every day, physically what Kyler Murray looks like right now.
Well, I think he went through the development and the maturation of, what's he going to play at? Like, what's his physique going to best serve him in the NFL? And it's like, of course, he's 5'10", right? And, I think at some point he wore a little bit more weight and then he slimmed down. But now it's like he's found a sweet spot where, we showed a picture of him from when they were doing just strength and conditioning, and he's cut. He looks like he's just as cut as he's possibly been. And he's just in a spot where he's strong. And then he's also still just able to continue to turn it on and hit that gear that he's always had as far as running the football and getting out of trouble.
I mean, his lower body is thick. It's, I think, going to take the weight of a 17-game season. I think this is the best. I don't want to say it's the best shape he's ever been in, because that's cliche, and he's been in great shape other seasons. I just think the way he's constructed his body and his physical stature this year is perfect for what Drew Petzing has planned for him this year, which I think is going to be a lot of staying in the pocket, moving when necessary, designed runs, but also putting in that physical toll of, I'm going to be able to grind this out in December and January, where that's not always been the case. Like his body just hasn't held up. And again, with this offensive line, Jonah Williams, Paris Johnson Jr., Yelda Froldholt, Will Hernandez, Evan Brown, that's a grinded out offensive line. And I think Kyler Murray and his physique lend itself to that. Just 3 yards in a cloud of dust, not 50 pass attempts when this team's down 20 under Cliff Kingsbury.
Well, and then also like the rushes a game. Like he was right around 5. Like I think 5 rushes per game, 5 to 6. I think he got at some point up towards 9, which you don't want. Like if you look at that compared to where he was in the Kingsbury days, I mean, he was, every once in a while, like 10, 12, but it was always like, 7 to 12 times he's rushing the football, where I think if you have, 3 design runs a game, and then you've got, the ability for him to scramble when a play breaks down. But he's already said, like, he loves playing within this offense, the infrastructure of the offense. And then when things break down, being able to utilize his Superman talents and not having to be Superman each and every play. Like that just being the case is going to take the wear and tear off his body significantly. That and them being a primary rushing offense to start, where James Conner is carrying the load, Michael Carter, Trey Benson, and they've got good offensive linemen up front and good blocking tight ends. Like that's going to just help him significantly. And he already did a really good job, like avoiding. He's never been squared up. You've never seen Kyler Murray just get crushed or erased. But
Jaden Daniels style,
right? But you've seen him like get kind of twisted. His main injury was a non-contact injury, so we'll just see if I think he's just in a better position.
From really good content to let's just call this questionable. From our friends at PHLY, we love them to death. This came across the Twitter streets
what I woke
today.
up to.
How about this? PHLY Eagles, great stuff. Go check them out. Posing a question that nobody asked: who lasts longer, Nick Sirianni with the Eagles or Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals? Well, I don't know. Sirianni was almost fired after the end of last year, and the Cardinals went into Philadelphia and embarrassed the Eagles. So, Bo, I'm going to ask you, who lasts longer?
Well, I listened to this segment. I love what Zach and Bo are doing there in Philly. They're one of the actual.
They're terrific.
Yeah, they're not like the rest of the market, insufferable. Like they're fun, just like this show. But I still think that they're ill-informed as far as Jonathan Gannon and what he's done with this organization and the belief that this organization has in JG. The way that they answered this question, they said that they think that Nick Sirianni has the ability to be fired after this season. But if he somehow survives, that he has the ability to coach 5 more seasons, where Jonathan Gannon, they feel like he's going to last like 2 more seasons. So they think that JG could outlast Sirianni this year, but if Sirianni survives, he's going to be the longer play, which I disagree. Like, they think that Jonathan Gannon's going to be 3 and done coach, and they're still bringing up old narratives like that the ownership wouldn't want to like cut bait because of his contract. We're just like, no, like ownership doesn't want to cut bait. Like if they don't meet expectations, sure, they're going to be disappointed, but they see overall the culture change and what Jonathan Gannon's been able to do, that they're not just going to say, oh, well, it's time for a new voice to come in. Jonathan Gannon's has gone stale, because that's not going to be the case no matter what their record is.
I need Damon Dawg to weigh in on this, because he has a special place for Philadelphia, and specifically Damon and Big Dom have a relationship. So Damon Dawg, you saw this today. What was your reaction?
Well, we talked to the PHLY guys when we, were out at the Super Bowl and stuff. And we, Bo, you posed this question to them a couple of times, and we're having conversations about it. And I felt like we never really got a straight answer as to what they think the reasoning from going from like a top 10 defense to the worst defense in football was after losing their defensive coordinator. Like,
a lot of factors to consider there.
Yeah. I mean, they like we talked about, they're good dudes. Like we like them a lot, but that never really made sense to me. Like, it's like there's one big change there, and it was the defensive coordinator, and then shit hit the fan. So, I mean, if Big Dom's on the sideline, obviously that's a game changer for Nick Sirianni. But yeah, I mean, they're going to fire their Pop Warner coach. There's no doubt in my mind.
I mean, the things that they were saying about the Cardinals organization were not based in fact. They were based in,
narratives,
narratives and stuff. And then if like they were talking like the Philadelphia Eagles were this holy organization that could do no wrong. When you look at the last decade, the Eagles have had 3 head coaches. The Arizona Cardinals have had 4. It's like you're not that much better of an organization. Like, I know you made 2 runs to the Super Bowl and you won one of them. You caught lightning in a bottle and had the most crazy run by a backup quarterback in Nick Foles to a title. But like Howie Roseman in 2021, they wanted to run him out of the city, and now he turns turds in the gold according to their fan base. I think that they've heavily discounted what Jonathan Gannon brought to that organization, what he brought to Sirianni. And, it's going to be another year where you're going to, like, Vic Fangio's voice was never resonated in Miami. I don't know how it's going to help in Philly. And then Kellen Moore, I mean, he's another year removed from his success in Dallas. And Mike McCarthy looked really good without him there. And Justin Herbert did not look great last year.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys' offense took a huge step forward, and the Chargers took a huge step back.
So, like, if you're asking Sirianni to elevate these coordinators, but then they need to elevate Sirianni, it's like, well, what are we doing here?
The team went 1-6, including the playoff loss down the stretch, and they gave up defensive point totals of 42, 33, 20, 25, 35, 27, 32. Over the course of the last 7 weeks.
Rookie corners that they really like, and Vic Fangio.
Listen, our boy from Iowa plays there now, Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Did you see
the video, by the way, of Adam Peters, the GM for Washington, working a deal in the Commanders' war room, and Howie Roseman called him about 6 times, and Peters is just be like, dude, you're a pain in the ass. Like,
stop calling me.
I told you the deal. Here are the parameters. Either make it or move on. And he called him a couple more times. So he's like, is it 2-0? You want 201? He's like, no, 161. I want 53, 55, and 161. And Roseman just couldn't do it. And then he ended up pulling off the deal anyway.
They're one of the most unlikable organizations in the NFL, easily.
Yeah.
Like I know, like, Cardinal fans despise the Dallas Cowboys. I actually think there's likable qualities with Dallas because, like, Mike McCarthy's like a buffoon, and we all love CeeDee Lamb. Like, there are likable qualities with Dallas, even though you can hate their fans, definitely.
I don't know about that.
The Eagles are so unlikable from an administrative standpoint. They're just Dom, Sirianni, Howie Roseman, like Barf City.
Fans.
Yeah.
Well, that they scapegoated JG for their Super Bowl loss.
Like, Jerry Jones is kind of a big time creep, but like the Cardinals dominate the Cowboys when they play them. Like, I have no issues with the Cowboys. The Eagles are.
Well, they're harmless. Like,
yeah, they are. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Richard, 199 super chat here on a Football Friday. Can we talk the cornerback room? We absolutely can. We've been touching on it over the course of this week in particular. And we didn't ask this in one of our burning questions, Richard, but cornerback depth chart. Let's put Bo and Johnny on the spot right now and let's ask it. What does the CB room look like in a base defense? I'll give you my opinion here. I think it's Sean Murphy-Bunting, number 1. I think it's Garrett Williams, number 2. I think it's Max Melton, number 3. I think those are your 3 top corners. With respect to the guys who started at the end of last year, Keitrell, Clark, Starling, Thomas, great depth pieces. They're going to be on the roster, you would assume. But the talent level, Max Melton's a dog. Sean Murphy-Bunting got a nice contract. And I think Garrett Williams could be the most refined corner that they have.
Yeah. I mean, Garrett Williams credited the organization for how they handled him with his best interests in mind as he came back from an ACL injury and how he just primarily played slot or nickel, whatever you want to call it, and played limited snaps. But if Garrett Williams in training camp can make himself undeniable and that you can't take him off the football field, thus making him go from just your primary slot to being in that base defense, that's huge for the Arizona Cardinals to be next to or opposite Sean Murphy-Bunting as your starting outside corners. And then you have your 2 safeties. That would be huge. That would be as much as you want to see Max Melton. And I think the team is excited about Max Melton and Elijah Jones too. And I think they like Starling Thomas.
Jaden Davis, who we spoke with earlier this week on this show. They got a lot of promising guys on this roster. Absolutely. Not a ton of proven guys, but guys with some upside. And here's what I'll say. I feel way better about JG developing a mid to late round corner than I do with this team finding a pass rush out of thin air. I just think that the way the NFL is tailored, and then you double down with your head coach, they can find contributors at corner anywhere. And they did last year. They got through certain times. That's why they cut Marco Wilson. Pass rusher is a different story. You got to have the juice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I like Jones. I really like Elijah Jones out of Boston College. Like good size, good length, good athleticism. Fast 40, great vert. I mean, another guy that's in going to get an opportunity. CB room is in a lot better shape than it was at this time last year.
Night and day. How about the number 18 collection? That's in good shape right now. Shipping ASAP. Get notified that folks in the chat have been getting their number 18 collection shipped to them. We'd love to see it. We can't wait to see you rep it.
I need to see it posted on Twitter. If you tweet a pic of yourself in any of these 3 great shirts, you tag us at PHNX_Cardinals or at Bo Brack, at Damon Dawg, or at Johnny Venerable, and we're retweeting that bad boy immediately. Give it to me. I need to see him in out in public, out in nature. I need to see the 18 collection.
Official shirts of Hold the Line.
That's
I agree.
all right.
I agree with that. I have no issue with that. You've earned it, Damon Dawg.
The father of Hold the Line has spoken.
Did you know Torrey, by the way, yesterday on the day that Marvin threw the first pitch out, said hold the line 3 times in the press availability?
That's not by accident.
Coincidence?
People watch PHNX programming. Well, this isn't breaking news here. Get your shirt now for free by becoming a diehard at gophnx.com. We've broken it down. We're going to have more details. The 9-9-9 challenge is going to be a diehard exclusive taking place in the Discord, remaining in the Discord. So get a free shirt, become a diehard, and get a front row seat in the Discord for Johnny, Bo, Damon, and Shane. guzzling some glizzies at Chase Field 2 weeks from Saturday. It's going to be a banner time. In the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. We are quickly approaching 30,000 subscribers. Hell yes, it's a banner year for the Arizona Cardinals. It's a banner summer. This is the summer of PHNX Cardinals, baby. Thank you for spending your Football Friday with us. For Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire, my co-host, Bo Brack, I'm Johnny Venerable. We're back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.